Alli, welcome. Thank you for joining us for our first newbornphotography.com happy hour. We're super excited to have you here. So I'd like to let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your photography business.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Alli Peck, and my company is Glow Portraits. I specialize in newborn and maternity photography.
Great. So how did you get into the specialty of doing maternity and newborn photography?
It was actually kind of by accident. Years ago, I had taken a course for film, and when I finished that, there wasn't work where I lived. It was more of a fashion industry and commercial type of work, and I lived in a really small area, so I wasn't able to apply any of that. And then I became a mom, and I had friends, and I had a girlfriend who was expecting, and she really wanted to take some belly shots of herself, and she had a point-and-shoot camera, and she said, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we can do that." And so it kind of blossomed from there. I ended up taking her maternity session, just using a point-and-shoot, and they turned out beautiful, and I just saw how pretty she looked and how great she felt, and it just kind of blossomed from there. So I took my previous knowledge from film school and had to relearn the whole digital process from there, because that's when digital cameras were first starting to come out. But so it was kind of a new thing, but I was able to apply some of the old lessons. And that was, let me see, my son was 9 months old, and he's 12 and a half years ago.
Wow, that's awesome. A lot of people, I feel like, don't have a kind of a formal background in photography, so that's always interesting to run across photographers who do kind of have an actual training in that. So I know that you said when you did have that kind of training, what other kind of resources did you use when you were first kind of coming into the industry as a maternity and newborn photographer?
I wasn't, it was really kind of blossoming back then. There was Baby as Art and Tracy and Kelly Ryden, Carrie Myers, Robin Long. Those were kind of the pioneers that were just blossoming at that time. So there weren't a lot of resources as far as learning at that point. So I kind of just learned as I went myself. I just was self-taught basically that way. I did pick up a couple of courses here and there throughout the years, just helped to fine-tune some of the posing as far as newborns go. But I live in an area where we have one of the highest birth rates per capita in Canada. And so I was lucky enough to get a lot of babies and a lot of pregnancies, and able just to practice and practice and practice.
That's great. So did you take in-person workshops yourself with some of these pioneers that you mentioned?
I wasn't able to. No, they, of course, were in the States, and I live in Canada. So that just wasn't a feasible thing for me. It was about 7 years ago. I did take a newborn and lighting course through a photographer that's no longer, she doesn't do photography anymore. And so it was from there, because before that I had used actually old style hot lights, and I had never used a strobe light in my life. So being able to learn the strobe lighting was a new thing as well. It wasn't so much different using constant lights, but they're not even the constant lights like the TD6 that people are using now. They were actually hot tungsten lights. So everything was really orange, and I'd have to put filters onto my camera to combat the orange from the hot lights. And they named them hot lights for a reason. They were hot. Very hot.
Definitely. So at this point in your career, you're very well established. How many sessions would you say you do a week between maternity and newborn combined?
I try to work every day. So if it's a busy time for me, then I am working probably 5 to 6 days a week. Slower times, of course, maybe 3 to 4 sessions a week. And that would be newborns, maternity, as well up to about a year-old sessions, the sitting age sessions, and then the cake smashes. I don't really do any families. I do occasional families that have followed me through the years. Coming for sessions, I will do them in the fall, but otherwise I just stick to the first year. It's my favorite time.
So if you're working every day like that, if you're shooting, do you edit, say, in the afternoon, like after you do your sessions, or how do you find time to work that in?
Right, that's so difficult. It's still a balancing act even after all these years. I considered outsourcing my editing, but I'm just too OCD and picky about my editing, and I think my editing is actually makes my work look like me, and so I just wasn't ready to hand that control off to somebody else. So I also have 4 kids, so it's definitely very difficult. So what I will do is I'll shoot in the morning or the afternoon, and then